Oh, for the good old days when you could simply ask a menial for refreshment.
I'm afraid I can't help you at the moment. Have a prosperous day.
Burning the midnight oil, are we? The Halcyon Parcel Service's work is never done. Welcome to Halcyon Parcel Service. Deliveries guaranteed within standard margins of accuracy. We do, in fact, have a parcel here for a Mr. Clark, Minister. You're not an official member of the Halcyon Parcel Service team. That means you'll have to sign a release form. Oh, I'd have to submit a request for a release form, and then wait for a receipt for my request of a release form. Then you'd have to make an appointment. Couldn't say. We've got a backlog, and I'm planning on retiring in the next 35 years, but I could give my successor a memo on your behalf. You're welcome to lodge a complaint in our suggestion box. Actually, no. We're still waiting on our delivery of a new suggestion box. You do that? Wow. Hey, you know, a positive review from the minister would go a long way in my semi-monthly employment audit. Here's your parcel to be delivered to Mr. Clark, Minister. Law speed.
Spacer's Choice Zero G Brew. An ale that's good for
I only wish they weren't showing so many spacers.
Anti-Cleo's pipe.
Wouldn't it be
All of the
something to see
benefits
if
of
Earth
smoking a
is
real
so
pipe,
planned?
none of the messy cleanup.
There's no way one would fit.
How would you know? You've never seen one.
Neither have you. I don't know anyone who's seen one.
Do you mind? I'm meeting someone. Oh. You mean I'm supposed to be meeting you? Yeah, you're looking to make contact with Minister... Magpie, right? I should warn you, it won't be easy. He spends most of his time in his estate, which is heavily guarded. Whoa, I'm not one of your B&E specialists. I just provide intelligence. Some of the guards hang around Billingsley's House of Inebriation between shifts.
That place is still open? I used to study there during medical school.
Maybe you could do some reconnaissance there. You know, swipe a key while nobody's looking. Just remember, you didn't hear it from me. Afraid not. He almost never leaves his home, and his guards never leave him.
Can't say I blame him. It's scary out of doors. I mean, can you even count how many times we've been shot at?
What work specialists, huh? Our mutual friend is really branching out. I've always been fascinated by birds. If you ever research Earth species, there are thousands of them, so colorful and distinct.
Here we got 11 flavors of terror rays and not much else. That kind of variety? I mean, gosh, seems almost impossible.
The other thing about birds, though, is their environmental indicators. Exactly. I started thinking about everything we see around Halcyon, and all the things we don't see. For starters, you rarely come across anyone living in Byzantium who wasn't born here, even though we get ships in all the time.
Trust me, anyone with a lick of sense gets out of here as soon as possible.
But most people don't. In fact, most people stay exactly where they start. Doesn't that seem strange to you? And then there's the way nothing gets fixed. There used to be a suggestion box around here. People would drop ideas in. Nothing ever came of them, of course. Sure, that part is. That's why they install shredders in those boxes, after all. But one day the shredder broke. No one came to fix it. And since it wasn't working, we didn't have anywhere to file our complaints. So you can imagine how messy things got.
I bet your repair folks couldn't find parts. Back in Edgewater, I'd have to take something apart just to put another thing back together.
Might have been the paperwork. Here, you have to append forms to your forms, and law help you if there's a single dash out of place. At first, management put up an out-of-order sign, but that just seemed to worry people, like they were advertising something wasn't working. They eventually took the whole suggestion box sign down so that people didn't have any expectations about it. But they never fixed it, never replaced it. Doesn't that seem odd to you? Except that's not how they go. At least that's not how they're supposed to go in Byzantium. The whole episode made me wonder, if they can't fix something as simple as a suggestion box, what else aren't they fixing? After a while, I got connected with our mutual friend and started using my position here to feed him information when I could. That's it, really.
Cleo's energizing ointment. Enjoy 6 cups worth of concentrated caffeine.
The
with every
dissonance
cup.
actually took over the recovery.
Remember that string.
Elect your children.
They're on us! Get on!
What is it? I'm trying.
Why can't something exciting?
Huh? Hey! Hey, soldier! You can't just wander around the minister's residence. What do you think you're doing? Already? His magazines usually take weeks to arrive. Discretionary holding period and all that. Let's not jump to conclusions. Just drop it off and get out of here. I don't want to see you hanging around.
How did you get in here? You're not one of my guards. What are you doing here?
Oh, my law. Captain! Captain! That's the minister! Mr. Clark! Oh, wow!
So, this is one of the guys who runs the colony, huh? Small room for a big shot.
If this is about another Aetherwave clip or radio spot, you may kindly fuck off, as the parlance goes. I'm not doing any more. Drugs, of course. What else would it be? I don't have any drugs. You should try a vending machine or a purveyor of curative goods.
He's got no idea what we're asking about.
Will that be all, then? Oh dear, I don't think I can say this any more slowly. Unless... Of course! It's Rockwell again, who else? And I thought he was only holding me here to keep me out of the way. You are a quick study, indeed. I've long suspected Rockwell of transacting business in my name, but this proves it.
You've been all alone in this house? Would you like me to make you tea?
Please, this is important. Whatever it is that brought you here, Rockwell's the one behind it. After seeing this place, is it really a stretch? I've been confined to this house for years, and even I can tell you, things aren't right in Halcyon. Whatever Rockwell's doing, he'll be doing it from the HHC headquarters. Your best lead is to look for details in his office.
This all feels off, Captain. Like when there's a storm coming, but everything's quiet and still.
Believe me, things have been off around here for a very, very long time. A reckoning is most certainly due.
We really gonna do this? Getting involved is a messy business, and it rarely pays.
This is about more than bits. This is about the survival of the colony. If you don't help, who will? Why, this is starting to sound like an issue of Dissident Hunter. Halcyon Holdings Corporation, the collective of companies that run the colony together. Allegedly in partnership with the Earth Directorate and appointed Minister of Earth. Via the Acropolis District, of course. That's where the most important corporate and government facilities are. But only board employees are allowed into the district. There's a heavily guarded checkpoint just down the street. There might be a route through the maintenance tunnels, but I'm afraid I don't know specifics. Most people avoid the area for obvious reasons. When you reach the HHC building, this access card should get you up to the executive suites, where the chairman's office and what used to be my office are. Oh, I haven't been allowed up there in years. I shudder to think what Rockwell's done with the place. A gilded minibar, perhaps? A personal theater. The man has too much money and too little sense. The board's lackeys are none too bright. I simply claimed I'd lost it and hid it somewhere no one would think to look. I merely hid it in a book. No one reads anything longer than a few pages around here. There are a few advantages to dealing with imbeciles. Wait! Rockwell has one of the only terminals capable of transmitting to the Earthbound message drone. This is our chance. Please, take this and transmit it from his office. Rockwell hasn't given me any messages from Earth for years. He's desperate to keep me out of contact with the Earth Directorate. But they need to know what's happening here. What isn't on it is the real question. I've gathered meeting minutes, internal messages, sustainability reports, and more, all exposing the corruption and mismanagement plaguing Halcyon. Once the rest of the Earth Directorate sees it, they'll have to send help.
You're awful trusting for a guy who's been locked in his own house for years.
The Earth Directorate is our best hope. Even Rockwell's resources are no match. And it is hardly in their interest to let Halcyon crash. Depending on the nature of their response, months at least, perhaps years. Organizing and sending personnel all the way out here is no mean feat. Perhaps there is hope after all. And now I entrust it to you. Good luck, and trust no one in the Acropolis district.
The Acropolis district is off limits. Move along.
You could have asked me, you know.
What in the law's name are you on about? Honest mistake. Why don't you come back another time and we can take this from the top? Yeah, and I'd really like a new Hammersmith grenade launcher. Hammersmith, the most trusted brand in brutality. But we can't, and seeing as you don't seem the executive sort, you obviously don't belong in the... Hey, I've been trying to get a post at the HHC, but they keep turning me down on account of my odious interpersonal skills. Or something. Anyway, I've worked here long enough to know every clerk by name and face. And since I don't know yours, you ain't getting through. You're new to the ministry? You one of those lab coats they promoted from a company town? That was yours? Wow. You earned that promotion, all right. So you start tomorrow, huh? You know, they should have set you up with an ID 6 to 8 weeks ago. But then you had to wait 6 to 8 weeks for the complaint forms to arrive, right? I've been there. Yeah, all right. You're good to go.
Captain, I stand out here like a big, greasy thumb.
Welcome to the official headquarters of the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Board. Today's greeting is brought to you by Auntie Cleo, a subsidiary of Colway Pharmaceuticals.
Do we really need all this security? I have to go through 3 checkpoints just to take a bathroom break.
Can't be too careful. Dissidents like Phineas Wells will stop.
Say your business.
Most of the day-to-day business goes through the adjutant, Sophia Conde. She handles matters while the chairman's away.
I'm sorry, but I've already exceeded my friendly banter quota.
Nothing exciting ever happens around here. UDL security attendant.
Rumor has it someone's pulling doubles until the retirement district is ready to repair.
Move along.
Oh, Captain, you see those fine clothes Miss Jolliker made for me? I ain't never owned anything so fancy in my life.
Something on your mind?
Sure.
Heading back.
Rumor has it someone's pulling doubles until the retirement district is repaired.
Did you hear? Marjorie Dalton and Archibald Harris are redecorating with real crystal faux windows.
Laws. Don't they know those windows?
Move along.
You can pass. Go on through.
Nothing exciting ever happens around here.
Someone needs to teach those iconoclasts a lesson for what they did to our gunship. Rumor has it someone's pulling doubles until the retirement district is, repaired. Please step away. This entry is for high-priority HHC business only. Yeah, and I need a new flavor of Tyleritos. Chairman Rockwell's away on business, and even if you were here, you need to request an application for an appointment. How should I know? No one ever gets an appointment. If you're not clear to know, then I'm definitely... Huh. I didn't realize we were still using those iridescent stickers. But this looks right. I'll just need you to register your weapons with a revised request to carry 32B form. Each weapon will need a separate form. I'm not authorized to employ humor on the job, sir. Now, let's see. Damn it. When did I run out of forms? You don't have to be sarcastic about it. Look, you don't have time to wait on new forms, and I can't afford the citations for impeding HAC business. So I'm going to save us both some trouble and waive your forms. Just know there are a bunch of guards upstairs, and they're all high on dervish mist and low on patience. So try anything funny, and they'll paint the walls with your guts. Someone needs to teach those iconoclasts a lesson for what they did to our gunship. Move along.
Someone needs to teach those iconoclasts a lesson for what they did to our gunship.
Apologies for the wait. I was arranging my stationery. personal assistant to Adjutant Akande and Chairman Rockwell. I'm also responsible for organizing the adjutant's stationery, which is more of a hobby. Ah. Oh, you were being serious. I'm obliged to inform you that Chairman Rockwell is unavailable for an indeterminate duration. Will there be anything else?
A UDL security attendant is always prepared.
Excuse me, just a moment. Is there something I can do for you? I beg your pardon, Minister Clark's former office is currently closed to solicitors. What? Oh dear. Thank you for reminding me. I can't stand the thought of someone else's hands touching my custom letterheads.
One person gets all this space. Just to sign papers all day?
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed. But I can assure you there's nothing to fear. We've got a solution. It's called the Lifetime Employment Program. We will freeze most of the colony to preserve resources, while the best and brightest of Byzantium continue living in prosperity. Look, you idiots! How many times do I have to tell you we can't say shit like that? Fire whoever wrote this! While Halcyon's brightest minds solve the problem of our nutritional shortage, the rest of the colony will be placed in suspended animation. Individuals will be revived on a rotating basis, so that every Halcyonite can be part of the important work of saving our colony. By testing paperweights. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's go again. And someday, in the not-too-distant future when we've solved this crisis, we'll all be back together again working for the good of Halcyon. Until then, the board shall provide for the deserving just as it always has. So, obey your supervisors, take your vitamins, follow your corporate-mandated grooming rituals, and rest assured with the board on your side, there is nothing to worry about.
That was all a story, wasn't it? It's not real.
I don't know about you, but I'm all for living fast and dying young. Huh? What? What was that?
Here they
Something
come!
not
Bring
right.
them down! That's just pissing them off! Take cover!
huh?
Their mistake.
I'm reloading!
Saw something. I'm gonna take a look.
Captain, look out!
Don't hurt me! Don't! I'm sorry! I'm sorry!
Ah! Ah!
Excuse me, just a moment.
Just goes to show you never really see your hometown till you travel.
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed. But I can assure you there's nothing to fear. We've got a solution. It's called the Lifetime Employment Program. We will freeze most of the colony to preserve resources, while the best and brightest of Byzantium continue living in prosperity. Look, you idiots! How many times do I have to tell you we can't say shit like that? Fire whoever wrote this! While Halcyon's brightest minds solve the problem of our nutritional shortage, the rest of the colony will be placed in suspended animation. Individuals will be revived on a rotating basis so that every Halcyonite can be part of the important work of saving our colony. By testing paperweights. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's go again. And someday, in the not-too-distant future when we've solved this crisis, we'll all be back together again working for the good of Halcyon. Until then, the board shall provide for the deserving just as it always has. So, obey your supervisors, take your vitamins, follow your corporate-mandated grooming rituals, and rest assured with the board on your side, there is nothing to worry about.
I beg your pardon, Minister Clark's former office is currently closed to solicitors. What?
Huh? What was that?
Not a peep from me.
Huh. Nothing there. What was that?
Their mistake.
What was that? I'd better take
Here
a
they
look.
come!
Don't quit on us, my body!
Keep your eyes on participants.
Something's not right. What? No visitors allowed, citizen. I'm going to need to see some identification. What? I don't need to see your identification. Move along. Going. I'm on my way. They're on us. Nailed him, Captain! Careful, you're hurt! We're not getting through!
If you stop in the engine room, would you ask Parvati to send Sam down to the bridge?
What do you got there? Is that a scrap of Ellie's jacket in your midst, Sam? Oh, Captain! Just doing some routine maintenance on our automech friend. Don't mind me. I swear, next time we put in the groundbreaker, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna ask her over. Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm having trouble focusing on my work.
You have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same in person as they do in my reports. And my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You've had quite a career. I'm glad to hear that. This may come as a surprise, but I happen to enjoy your work. I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. Now that was an interesting piece of work. A rundown backwater, barely worth the ink on a map. Until you showed up. When you cut off power to Edgewater, you saved me a great deal of trouble. Now I don't have to bother trying to save that town. All this happened because some mysterious stranger fell out of the sky. Not always. For the longest time, I could never be sure if you were on our side or against us. You should be back on the Hope, frozen in a hibernation chamber. Yet here you are, flying about in a stolen ship, leaving a trail of paperwork in your wake. The board doesn't know what to make of you. But I do. I've seen your potential. There's so much we can do for this colony. You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate. Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. I want to convince you to turn him in to us. He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan is going to endanger everyone in Halcyon. He's an obsessive psychopath. And he's using you. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal. You are making a serious mistake.
Adjutant Akonde's call has been terminated. Will there be anything else, Captain? We've arrived at the groundbreaker. If you don't mind my saying, Captain, Minister Clark is lucky to have you on his side.
Sorry. Mind your... All right. She's on her way. How do I look? Oh, my hands have finally stopped shaking. All right. Deep breath. Here I go. Anyhow, so I told him, Dad, I'm a big girl now. I ain't need your help. I can do it on my lonesome.
What did he say to that?
Have at it then. And he handed me his favorite wrench, the one he used for the canner. He's probably half as tall as I was.
He didn't scold you for talking back to him?
Nah, he was never like that. I always thought it was funny when I'd get indignant about something. Then he'd watch me do whatever it was, make sure I didn't get hurt, but he'd never interfere. I learned a lot that way.
I wish I could have met him. Anyone who helped shape you must have been a special person.
A reminder to all crew members, there is only one toilet on the ship.
Okay, Captain, she's gone. I'm near about vibrating. I'm so excited. So she got here, and, well, she sneezed. She said, "Wow, new soap?" And I was like, "Yeah, rosish." Turns out it tickled her nose. Oops. And then she just sort of touched my arm real gentle-like and called the cut of my outfit elegant. I couldn't hear the rest on account of my heart was beating so hard. Then I led her into the kitchen. I think she about cried when she saw the spread. She stood stock still and just said, "Oh, real soft." Oh, and let me tell you, I was sweating. And then she blinked and said, "Is that dustbat casserole?" I told her how we got Mr. Raymond to bake it for us, so it was double authentic. Made by a real live monarch person. Well, we talked a bunch over dinner about the things we learned just through messages, stuff we repaired, how I taught her to salvage and she taught me to build. When I brung out the sweetheart cakes, June, she got a little teary, said she had a thing she needed to say. But I stopped her because I wanted to say it first. I never felt so bold, Captain. I told her about how she made me feel. Bold like I acted, strong, smarter and kinder than I am on my lonesome. I listed all the things I liked about her. And then she pulled out a paper and read a speech. She talked about the things she admired about me, like my cleverness and my humor, and how it made her want to be more open. Anyhow, when she wrapped up, I asked her to be my girlfriend. And Captain, she said yes! And then she sneezed again, on account of the flowery soap. We talked about it some. I told her I wasn't sure how it'd work, how I've had a bad time of it in the past. She said we'll take it as it comes. Fix things together. Share meals, talk. Maybe she could rub my shoulders when they're sore. I said I might like that. You got an eye for people, Captain. It's all on your account, you know. Imagine if you'd never taken me out of Edgewater. I'd have never met Junlei at all. I don't know nothing about the Vickers capital P plan, but you've sure changed my life. So, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna head to my cabin and happy scream into my pillow for like an hour.
Is it done? Well, damn. Contractor grew a conscience. As your employer, I'm both angry and disappointed. I'll add that to your file. Technically, I owe you an exit interview. Care to justify your betrayal of our species, or are we finished here? You're awfully quick to trust someone who offed her colleagues and called it a good start. Out of my office. We're done.
This is why I always ask for half my payment up front.
You think maybe she's got an itchy trigger finger? I don't want to find out.
I said, get out.
CNP pancake mix now requires no mixing. Seriously, don't mix it.
We got this thing!
Get him! Take him down!
Rizzo's lemon slap. Slap your whole family.
Is it done? Well, damn. Contractor grew a conscience. As your employer, I'm both angry and disappointed. I'll add that to your file. Technically, I owe you an exit interview. Care to justify your betrayal of our species? Or are we... Seeing as you're the first one to complain about my paranoia, have you ever considered that you... Out of my office.
The thanks we get for showing a little integrity.
I like her, Captain. Let's go before we have to paint this office with her blood.
Somehow...
CNP Borston Baked Beans.
Crew report. Ioka is drunk. Surprise. We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain.
said you got 3 days ago?
This looks like a place.
Well, well. Aren't you the very picture of good health and sound decision-making? However, we can't make good decisions all the time. Consider whoopsie-daisy coverage. Please note that to make a claim under this policy, you must describe your error in detail before a panel of relatives over the age of 65. And also note that doing so nullifies the privacy and dignity clause. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one.
Are you serious?
Well, we interviewed the parents extensively. They had plenty of awkward childhood stories that illustrated their daughter's clumsiness and capriciousness.
Hey, those are entirely made up.
Furthermore, the claim spurred a whole line of fashion-related policies. It's become a very lucrative market. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Of course she is. The paperwork says so.
I like to think she's dead in spirit, but technically, legally, and regretfully, I'm still Marilyn Fenhill.
That's impossible. By all accounts, she was an elegant and classy woman with impossibly fine bone structure. That couldn't possibly be you.
That's gotta be the nicest thing anyone's said to me in a long while.
Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd, theoretically, add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. Please, my policy only covers paper cuts and wrist strain. Very well, I'll do it. But then you've got to go. Confrontations like this will raise my premiums. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity.
Captain, got a minute?
You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. Hey, you did the real work. All I had to do was not be dead. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Yeah. The funny thing about getting what you want is then you gotta figure out what to do with it. I've never been much of a planner. Makes my eyeballs itch. If only you could have been my chief surgeon back in the day. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. Don't make it weird. Even you've got to be in it for the money now and then. Why else would you go through all this trouble? You sure? Because my kind of friends will pick your pocket clean while they're getting hammered with you. You don't have to get all mushy about it. Still, maybe you've got a point. Maybe it's good to watch someone's back now and then so that one day they watch yours. So, you just keep the money. One of us has to look out for your interests. It's nothing personal. It's just the closest thing I've got to a code. Anyway, enough of the touchy-feelies, huh? Something on your mind?
We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I congratulate myself, or would you like to do the honors?
Busy in your absence, optimized my formula. I'm now confident I can revive the remaining colonists. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take as much as you can give me. What? Oh, yes, well, that's obvious. Anyone with 2 working labs can see this colony's slouching toward oblivion. Why do you think we've been doing all this? I revived you to help me save Halcyon from annihilation. Hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse? And the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. The board made this crisis, and now they want to solve it by freezing the rest of us? That's not a plan. That's a goddamn escape clause. That makes 2 things we don't have. Time and chemicals to revive the other settlers. None of this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to revive the Hope's colonists. We were supposed to have enough time to solve the problem before we all starved. Human test subjects. Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board. Damn, that's not enough. Not nearly enough for the whole ship. I could revive a handful of settlers. Maybe, possibly, 10. We're out of time. We're out of chemicals. We may very well be out of options. If the board has their way, we're all going to be spending the rest of our lives frozen in stasis. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all. Toss them out into space, just to make room in their hibernation chambers. No, it wasn't. We have... Well, let's see. We have at least some of the chemicals. We have your ship, and we have you. That has to count for something. Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison for the rest of us. They're likely on their way to the Hope as we speak. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope. Merciful gibbering law, you're a genius! We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab. Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me, but I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
I've got a healthy disregard for personal safety, but this sounds crazy, even to me.
Your instincts are correct. By any reasonable definition of sanity, this plan is crazy. Isn't it wonderful? You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Your navigational computer, Ada, should be able to activate the Hope's skip drive. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately. Certainly. How can I help? It wouldn't surprise me. When I pulled you out of the Hope, the board nearly intercepted me. I expect they stepped up security since my little act of larceny. Skip drives were never designed to be used within a system, but I skipped my ship across Halcyon when I rescued you, and that turned out fine, mostly. That is, I ruined my ship and nearly killed myself in the process, but the maneuver was well within acceptable margins of risk. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Unlikely. The Hope is as massive as the Groundbreaker, but compared to the rings of Terra 2, positively minuscule. The board might notice, possibly, depending on the position of their heads relative to the depth of their collective posteriors. Huh. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers, scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it. Certainly. How can I help?
lost colony ship and skip it across the system. What could go wrong?
I believe I hear Felix and Parvati discussing the latest Aetherwave serial. We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive. If your calculations are even slightly off, you could crash the entire colony ship into Terra 2. Or the Sun. Forgetfulness can be an early warning sign of asphyxiation due to loss of pressurization. Are you breathing comfortably, Captain? I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive. The Hope is the Groundbreaker's prettier, sleeker sister. She wandered off and got lost for 70 years, but just recently was found. Also, there are hundreds of thousands of frozen organic life forms hibernating in her hold. Captain, I hope Dr. Wells has not dragged you into one of his irrational schemes again. My diagnosis of his mental stability is not flattering.